Alright guys, this particular session I'm going to continue on our Python socket programming. Uh, so here what I'm planning to do is to elaborate on the program that we have written in the earlier session. So this also is like a core server, but we'll try our best to put it in a more elaborative format where you will be able to learn a bit more about how to handle this socket programs, right? So we'll start with a similar structure like we did earlier, right? So we need to have a server code as well as a client code, right? So this one would be the server code. So and I write the client code separately. Here also I try to outline the structure of the code first, then I will jump in and we'll start do the rest of the code, right? So we'll save this first and getting for this elaborated version. So this is a Echo Server Echo 2 version, right? So server, yeah, server advanced we say. It's advanced, right? Not really advanced. Alright. So okay, I forgot to save it with my extension. Okay, and here I will need the basics. So I will import socket, right? So that's the main library. Apart from that, I will import threading library also. You will later on see why I'm using the threading library. Okay, and thereafter is the basic function calls. So I need the socket socket to be created. So I will create the socket. Socket. So we have to use AFINet and then socket. We need the sock stream, right? So probably later on we'll try to get a UDP sort of socket and do some experiments. Right. So this time will not use the width like the previous case. So I will use a variable called server, and then I'm going to use that variable and I'm going to bind. I use bind, and for this what you need, as you can see, is the address. So I would put address. So later on I will fill the address. So address should be ideal, but I think we should be able to understand it by now. So address is basically the server, server and the port, like the IP and the port, right? So we will try to get the server first. So server, there are so many different ways of setting up the server. So you can just give the IP addresses, right? You can give the IP addresses. All right, so we'll try to set up the server IP. For that, we'll use a function this time, get host by name, and yeah, and then socket get host by name. Actually, get host name. Get host name function, so that would give out the server IP address dynamically. So we don't have to really worry in hard coding anything. So that's the value of it. So we can even print get host name, and we can get the current IP also. That's possible. So we'll save this. So we'll see whether what will it print. Okay. So I'll go to my prompt. So equal to and yeah, I have server advanced. So I'm using Python 3. Okay, there is the name port is not defined. Alright, so we have defined the port. So we can give any port number other than a well-known port. So I will use port as 8092 like in the previous case. And yeah, so this is the get host. So this is the get host. So this is my MacBook Air, the name host name. So then we have to get the host name. So that will be the server. So that's the idea of yeah. So we can quickly get the whole thing, and we can print and see. So what will be the input for the server then? We save this and run this. So yeah, so that's the IP address, the local IP address which I'm getting in my PC. So if I want to double check it, if I do if config, so you can find the same IP. So it should be in Ethernet somewhere here. You should be able to see it. Yeah. Where is it? Okay, so basically you should be able to find it on config. Yeah, this is the one. No? This is the one, right? So that's the same IP address. So that's the IP of this machine. Okay, right. So basically now I have created. So this is some optional bit. So I create the socket and I bind the socket to that address. So that address is now well defined. The port and everything is defined. All right. So basically, this is the address information, including the port as well. All right. Good. All right. So that's there. That's up and back. So please observe the code. You also can take it down. All right. So next, so once the socket is created, so now I should be able to set up the listening port, and also I can set up the server to accept or the socket to accept the whatever the client connections that's coming. All right. So for that, unlike in our previous code, what I try to do, I will try to set up two functions, right? So initially I will set a function called so because I want to set up the server, set up server, so set up server function, right? So that I'll do, and also later on I will have a function to work with the client as well, right? So this is basically to so this is very no, doing it this way would be more of reusable or making reusable. So the code or the function is to handle the server end. All right. So every time please observe the code. And please observe the code, try to understand every bit of it. And if you don't understand anything, we can have the discussion going on later, and then we can have one-to-one questions. Or please always use the Slack channel as well. Right, and then so you can remember the server which I created. So this is the server. So I'm going to use the same server. So now what's the next thing to do? When you want to set up the server, set up the server socket, the server socket. Right, so we'll say server, and then we have to listen. So that's the next step. All right, so make sure that we'll see no screen state. Yeah, server listen. So this is the listening function. Oops. All right. Then, of course, here you can, if you want, you can have a print. You can have a print to say, okay, /IP echo server course server is now listening. Right. So alright, so that looks good, right? So we're waiting for connections. Okay, so we can later on modify this with some variables. It looks good. For the moment, we'll keep it like that. And then we can have a while, while true. And then we can write a while loop. So here the same thing again. We have to accept, so blocking function like in the previous case, and it will return those two things, which is the connection and the address. So it will be the same command which you have done earlier, right? So that would do the trick. So that's the accept function. So it will accept everything. So just for fun, we'll go there and try to compile this and see. Yeah, all good, right? We don't have any problem yet. So yeah, right. So then what I'll do, so we can get multiple connection to this. In this way, you can get single connection, but if you put a thread or something, you can get multiple connections up and running. All right. All right. For that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the thread class, right? So okay, so I'm going to use this threading class. So it's having these threads, right? So I'm going to create this thread. So then I have to define a function also. So to handle the clients, right? So I have to set target. So at the moment my target is not defined, and for that target I need to provide arguments. And what do you think would be the arguments that I have to give? So that particular function, whatever I'm going to write here, xxx, I should be having set of arguments to handle the clients. So to get the clients, of course, what you need is these two things, connection and the address. So that basically defines the socket. All right. Okay. So I will pass those two things. All right. Connection and the address. Is that clear, everyone? I believe that would do the trick. So the missing part at the moment is my function. Yeah, so we come to that. Okay, sorry. Okay, then of course my thread is there, so any thread should be started. Why is not showing? Oops, thread. Okay, so I couldn't actually return it. So now it should be okay. All right, let's go. Thread start. Okay. And then we can simply give a print, and we can give incoming connections, and basically here I can use variable threading. Okay, so this is to give a kind of indication of that I set up incoming connections to the server, right? Don't worry too much about this particular statement, so we'll see how it works in action later on. Right, so now something is missing, so this target function is missing, so I have to define this target function. All right, so now I'm going to define this function. So I will say multiple clients. No? So the whole purpose of doing that is to handle multiple clients. So okay, also incoming clients. All right, incoming clients. Right. So for that, of course, this should be the two arguments that we should give. So of course, according to Python, we should have this. And also, I would simply copy this here. Okay, that will do the trick. All right, now what this function should do, right? So this function should be able to basically get all the uh, client connections and basically serve the client. So this will serve all clients. No? Purpose of the function is to serve multiple clients. All right, cool. That's the trick. So I can have a print. Print should say client connected. So of course you can do few interesting things. So you can say from which address. All right, so that's well defined. All right, now what we'll do, we can say again as in the previous case, while true, right, sorry, while true, we can continue this. Or if you don't like this method, right, so for more usability and bit of fun, you can define the variable also. Condition is true, right, and then define the condition. All right, that's good. So now I'm in my while loop, right? Okay. Okay, so now what to do? Now, what I can do is to receive, right? Receive. So receive the messages. So I have to work with the con. Okay. So the function is receive. So now I can just say 1024 like in the previous case, right? Or else I can define it as a variable and then do the rest again. Right? For the moment, we'll keep it like that. Okay, or else I can do a bit of because the whole purpose of doing this code is to elaborate things. Okay, so I can do the formatting or decoding using a particular format. So for this format, I will use I will put a value here and put the format as UTF-8. Okay, as UTF-8. Okay, so that's my decoding format for whatever I'm receiving. All right, and then so what will happen is this will go as length of the message. Okay, length of the message. Right, so I have the length, right, and then I can basically put a condition. So I'll be dealing with this, and if the length of the message, right, so I'll try to get the length of the message. So I have to calculate it, so I will get it as this. Okay, and yep, that will be the trick. And then I want to get the message, right? So now I want to get the message. So that I'm going to use con receive. All right, and this time I'm going to give length of the message and again decode. Right. now, so I got the message here. Okay, so now the thing is, if I don't get any message, right? So I just want to see if I don't get any message, right? So then I have to go out from the loop, right? So I'm going to get a disconnect message, right? So this is what I have to give the client. So I'll give disconnect message. So I have to define it somewhere. So I will define it here. Oops, I missed the D. Okay. Yeah. So I will give just say got disconnected. All right. Okay. So then, if this is the case, so I would make sure I will go out from the loop. So what I would say is just pause. Right. And then, so the else situation, I can say print. So whatever I'm getting in, so which is from the address and the message. So message is, so if it is hello world or hello, so whatever would be printed. So try to understand the whole purpose of doing that is to check whether if there is a nullified message or any disconnected message, right? All right. Okay, so if you give this message, got disconnect, so then it will go out. So if the client sends that, so you can disconnect, right? So got disconnect it looks like a nice command. So it looks like a nice command, right? So it's like an advanced echo server, right? Advanced echo server. So try to get the idea. It's advanced echo server, okay? Otherwise print, and also a good echo server would always send it reply back. So this time, yeah. So you can see, I can give the message, message received, okay, loud and clear, and okay. Okay, so then you can encode. Previously it was decoded, now you can encode and send. So client also have to do the same using UTF-8. And then, yeah, that would do the trick. So here, so it's good always to close the connection as a responsible programmer. Okay, so things look good. So you might have to do a bit of a change here and there. But other than that, things looks fine. Things looks fine. Yeah. So this is the setup serve function, but now I'll just run this code to check whether it's fine. All right. So yes, that's an error in line 22. So line 22 length message. Okay. So I had to always put this one. All right. Same thing everywhere. Disconnect message. Okay. So working with interpreter, this is the problem that you guys have. All right. So nothing. No, you don't get any output because these are functions. Please understand these are functions. It's a function and this is a function. Everything is in the function. Inside the function. So I have to call this function. So please understand I don't have to call the incoming plans. So that will be our threaded function. So I don't have to do anything. Okay, don't want this. Right. So I don't want that. So I want to call the setup server. So that's my starting point. All right. So setup server. But before that, I will do a nice print to say my server is starting. Alright. So to make it look good, he will serve. Alright. So is starting. and yeah, few bugs. So please try to observe what happened. Yeah, so if it's a class, I will be giving time for you to write the code as well. So yeah, so that's very important that you guys work with me. So if you are watching this video, stop the video, right? Please stop the video and set it up and do this, right? There's no point of just looking at this code. You won't be learning anything until you are going to try this out. Okay, so take your time and do this. So I can of course put this course to my GitHub, all right, and I'll share the link with you guys. I'll do that. Okay, so okay, I'll share the GitHub. I'll share the two files in my GitHub. I'll create a repo. And make sure that all the things will be here. Alright, so this is Python socket. It doesn't look nice. Code. Alright. Yeah, so description Python socket programming code base. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. I put the readme to make sure that I will add content later on to that. And so yeah, I will get the necessary files and upload here, so you guys can get it from here. So I'm not going to share any links, so I'm going to make sure that you guys are watching to the end, right? Otherwise there's no point, right? So once you watch the video, you know that you find the files here, right? Alright, so the client server is there. Apart from that, you know, need the server advanced, is the elaborative one. Okay, that is also added. And I'll put the client code as well, so you guys can get those files. Commit changes. Oh, what happened? Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed it. Okay, things look good. So please go to this repo and get the files. Alright, so at the moment you have the following files: echo simple, echo client server, and then bit advanced, not so simple this. Alright, not so simple, echo client server. Okay, then comments done. Okay, so at the moment you have those two files. Alright, so all looks good. So now it's time to run our code. Alright, cool. AV server is starting, and SLIT echo server, it should be renamed as AV server, is running now. So it's waiting for the clients. Cool. So now it's time to run our client. Alright, so it's time to run our client. Alright, so I'm going to create the file for it. I'm going to save this. So client client also a bit advanced than the previous client. Done. Right. So now the basic stuff. So I'm going to copy. Right. So of course I need to import the socket library. So that's done. And I need the socket function to be created. So there are two things missing here. So I have my client. Okay, I have that. I need to set up the address. So what is the address now, guys? You have done this several times now. You have to have the IP, or rather to say server, server and the port. All right. So then you have to get the server. Server this time I'll not can't get host by name. It's not the right practice. So because you don't know the server, so you have to define the server, right? So you can get it, but because I'm running with the same machine, right? But might not be the best idea, right? So can you remember the server IP? 192 something, right? Okay, let me check the if config. Oops. If config. It's my IP. So this is the IP, right? Yeah. So let me copy. So then the server, right? Server should be that IP. Okay, that's clear, you know. So in your case, make sure that you check that. And the port, what is the port that we used? 8092. Okay, that's also fine. And then here also you might need to define the address port. All right, that's all fine. So I think yeah, this code looks good, right? And then all right, so now what you have to do is, like in the previous situation, we guys have to send our information. So previous code was quite simple, if you can remember, but we'll make it a bit elaborative because now you have to set the format and encoding and decoding, if you can remember those things. So for that, we'll create a function to write all these things. So we'll say client send. Okay, we'll set as client send. So that's the function, and of course, what to send is the message, right? So that would do. So the message. All right. So now the message. Yeah. So message. Whatever you have in the message should be encoded, right? Yeah. So what was the command we used earlier? So we have to use the format. So we'll set the format here. The format should be, so it should be UTF-8. So that's what we used earlier in the server side. To double check. UTF-8, yes, it's UTF-8. So yeah, so now please observe the code for a moment. Observe the code for a moment. All good? Okay. Yeah, so take your time. All right, so it's always good to listen, music when you're writing codes. It makes you think. Yeah. All right. So it's all fine. No? So the format, encoding, everything works cool. All right. So then that part is done. Then what do you have to do? Yes. So here also get the length of the message. So I'll use the function length, which is a Python function. So message, we'll get the message, length of the message. and I'll put length as in the previous case, length message. All right, that would do. So now I have the length of the message which I have to send, but I don't still have the real length of it, right? So I have to get the real length of it. So I have used the string function length. Okay, right. And I'm going to encode this, right? For the encoding, I'm using float. Good. So, and now to make sure that this should go into a variable to hold the value. So I would say this is this, and I'll use that way around. Length send. Alright. Okay, that looks good, right? And here I might have to calculate the length, send length, right? For that, what I'm going to do, so we'll do this first, and we'll see how to understand the whole process later on, right? So I'll write the function, right? So actually, I can do this, do the calculation there. Okay. And here, so now bytes, I will put the bytes into a header and get the length of length. So that calculates the length here, right? So header part is missing yet, so I will define it later. So that will happen when you are sending the data. So the header should be actually, previous times I used 64 bytes, so I will say header is 64. Alright, that looks good. So let me double check everything's are working fine. It's syntax. Yeah, so client advanced.py. So I'm going to use, yeah, everything seems fine. No errors yet. Now, yeah, so I have the client. So see, this is the client which I'm using. So I'm using the function send. Send all is there, but using send at the moment. And then I need to send the link. And then send the message that we send. Please understand that. And then, of course, I'm going to send the message, all important message, which is this one. Whatever the message should be sent later. Alright, so that's quite good. And then I can print whatever I'm sending from the client side. Sorry, this is what I'm receiving. So it should be whatever I'm receiving. So we'll assume we are going to receive bytes, right? And then we will put the code and we will put the format as well. So the format is UDF8. Okay, so that's a bit of the code. This is the function. That's the client function. Everything's fine. So now we're going to test the code now. Save, compile, things fine. Not Ravel's interpretation, but anyway, it's okay. Right. So now nothing is happening yet because I don't have the server or I have not invoked anything from the client side. So I'm going to invoke now. So just call client send. So I'm going to use it. Alright, cool. That's a good part, no? Okay. Okay. So I have to send my message. Hello. Hi, Salida. How are you? Okay, how are you? Are you doing good? And then, yeah. So I can send another value. Okay. Yeah, so I can send two messages, right, back and forth. Okay, 2, 3. Hi, Swara people, how are you? Hi, Salati. Hi, how is? Okay. Right. Hi, how is lockdown? Lockdown. Hi. Okay. And then, all important, the disconnect message. Right? For that, what disconnect message? Disconnect message. This is the disconnect now from the server. I will put it here, and this is the disconnect message. So that should give the all important disconnection from the server. So I say I had enough of you. So please do this. Right. So yeah. Fine. So worry about the issues later. Okay. Good. Okay, can't contact strings to byte. Okay. So we have few issues. Line 22, there's an issue, and line 17, there's an issue. Okay, this can be an issue, of course. So put a B for front. Okay. Nothing much we can do at the moment. And okay, so what we'll do for a moment, we will keep it like this, and okay, so we run the server. So 5, 3 server advanced. So that will run the server. Okay, that's problem. It was not there. Address all used, so that we can solve. So that guy is still running. AC93. Save and make sure here also it's 93. Okay, that's also saved. Clear things up. Right, that guy is running. I need another. Okay, so here I'm going to that's also done. And then Python 3 client. Oops. Alright, there is a problem with the string. So I'll try to work it out. I'll come back this. I'll post the session for a moment. Okay, give it a second. Alright, so I think there was few modifications I did. I can share the code. One issue was that in the client side, I forgot to add the message here. So this has to be put into message. So that was issue when it passes into string function. So first of the length. So I won't be getting anything related. So I have added that. Apart from that, everything looks fine. And also we did get this bind error. So we'll try to solve it next time. So every time we run a code, so I have to change the port number. So I will check it now. So again, same issue. Yeah, same issue. So I had to change the port number. So the option is we had to use this so reuse address. So I'm trying to work it out next time. So there's some separate options. So I won't be discussing it right now. Yeah, so we try to work on the next time we are going to discuss. Alright, so now I'm going to run the code. So yeah, everything is fine, it's listening. So from this side, my client. So there seems to be a small issue. Things look good. 9-7. Okay, this should be 9-7. This should be 9-8. That's official. Now we'll see. Alright, loud and clear. So what's happening? So we are sending the message SLIIT people, how are you? And you are getting that from the same machine, from this FML port, right? And then so we have to have input. So that is what's here. That I'm going to press enter. Yeah. So hi, how is hacking? Right. So another input. Hi, how is the lockdown? And disconnect. So I got disconnected. See, I'm in the prompt. Again, I can. So threads are running, so service up and running. Without any problem, any number of clients can connect. Alright, so that's sort of a bit of advanced code. So I'll make sure the updated codes get uploaded to the GitHub. So this should go away. I did a bit of a change, so I'll delete that. So I need to add the two files here, which I'm going to do now. Okay, so you can get those two files. So we are looked into the video, you know where to find the codes, right? So please get those files, and but best thing is to watch, when you're watching the video, you can write the code, so then get the errors, you can correct it. So I think that's the best strategy. And please run the codes as well, and please do experimentation. So it's quite interesting, right? So next time we'll be going to more detailed ones. So where we're going at is like, so now we know how to do network programming, right? So we have done assembly, right? So we try to connect those two in probably in another session or two. So then we can wind up. Alright guys, so hope it was clear. So your questions, please put it to Slack group. I want you to work hard on this. So advanced things are coming. So and your assessments are also coming, right? So even though I given you some activities, we have to now think about serious about the assignment part. So I will give the information probably next 1 or 2 days. So please keep on touch, right? Alright, okay. Thanks for the moment.